We're at Çatalhöyük, and this is reportedly one of the earliest agricultural communities on the face of the planet. 9,000 years old. This may be the oldest. It's possible that Jericho is older or that some other is older, but this one is likely to be the oldest. Let's take a look around. The first thing you see is a reconstructed house. This reconstructed house is done according to the pattern that you find at Çatalhöyük. The difference here is that this house has a door. It happens that the original natives came in through the roof, and that's what that ladder is there for. Otherwise, the house is pretty much unremarkable. It's got the usual sleeping quarters that you would expect, some storage, and cooking facilities. This is what the actual dig site at Çatalhöyük looks like. The dig site is now under cover and somewhat better protected than it was before. Before, the dig site had been left open to the elements without a cover on it at all, and there was substantial concern that it was going to deteriorate away. Next we have some artifacts that are in the Ankara Museum. These are basically grave goods, and what's coming up is a salt shaker. And next is a statue of the goddess Sybil, one of the oldest we have. This is a more relatively recent Hittite tomb. It's a reconstruction, of course, but it has some interesting artifacts here. Oh, and incidentally, those are cow skulls. The reconstruction is in the Chora Museum. Look at those big metal circles that are on the ground. Nobody really knows what those things are. The archaeologists call them sun discs. It's assumed that they have some kind of ritual purpose. Our next topic is going to be Cappadocia. Cappadocia is one of those places where good fences were not quite enough to make good neighbors. The village raiding basically forced some of the villagers to start living underground, or at least underground for temporary purposes. Now, nobody knows just how many underground sites there are in Cappadocia. The number has been estimated at around 300. Some say that there's one for every village and settlement in the region, but certainly not all the sites can be described as cities. The locals went underground here for a couple of different reasons. One is the landscape of Cappadocia is formed from tufa rock, which is easy to work. It's a volcanic rock, and the deeper you go, the easier it is to work. But then, after you've worked it, the surface dries to a very hard stone. And that's enough for you to excavate wide rooms with horizontal ceilings. In addition, trees producing wood suitable for building is quite scarce in Cappadocia, and apparently it always has been. So even the surface dwellings tend to be barrel vaulted using the tufa.
This one is air ventilation shaft. When you get your head in it, you can feel it, fresh air coming in. You know, there is no problem with air, with oxygen. I hope you can look one by one, and I hope you can give the message each other, you know, to look the shaft.
These tunnels may have started out as storage pits and wells and the like, but over a period of time they got deeper and deeper and more complex. In some places they're many levels deep with many large rooms, some of them specialized to be used as kitchens or churches even, wine presses and so forth. The tunnel entrances were hidden, and there were circular stones that could be rolled in front of the entrances to stop any aggressor coming in, and there'd be a hole in the center of the circular stone so that someone with a bow and arrow could shoot out and defend the position. These tunnels probably go back to Hittite times or even earlier. But the first mention we have of the subterranean sites occurs in Xenophon, written around 400 BC. Xenophon was a Greek mercenary who took charge of the 10,000 Greek mercenaries after the death of Cyrus. They had been marching across Cappadocia. And he says the houses were built underground. The entrances were like wells, but they broadened out lower down. There were tunnels dug in the ground for the animals, while the men went down by ladder. Inside, the houses were goats, sheep, cows, and poultry with their young. There was also wheat, beans, and barley wine in great bowls. When one was thirsty, one was meant to take a reed and suck the wine into one's mouth. This barley wine is exceedingly strong and best mixed with water, but any man who is accustomed to it and drinks it undiluted enjoys its flavor to the full. We've been visiting Kaimakli, which alone could probably hold tens of thousands of people if it had to, but it's not the largest of the underground cities. That goes to Derinkuyu, or the Deep Well. This underground city goes down for 8 levels, which are open to the public. There are at least 12 levels or more that have not yet been excavated. It's said that there are 600 outside doors to this city. They're hidden in various courtyards from the surface buildings and things like that. And there is speculation that the two cities that we've been in, which are 9 kilometers apart, are linked. The area open to tourists now goes down about 160 feet. What you can see is rock-cut tables, living quarters, churches, armories, tunnels. You can see stables, wine presses, and a dining hall and school. And there's all sorts of other things. A crucifix-shaped church, a meeting hall with 3 supporting columns, a dungeon, and on the lower level there's actually a temporary grave. Coming up is the temporary grave that I promised you. In this particular case, a tourist has been kind enough to act the part of the corpse so that you can see just exactly how big it is and how well somebody would fit into it. From the underground cities now we're going to the opposite extreme, and we're going to be hitting one of the main highlights of Cappadocia, one of the really great things to do. In this case, we're going on a hot air balloon ride. And of course, those always start at dawn. One of the interesting things about this is that we're not alone on our hot air balloon ride in Cappadocia. It seems like everybody in the neighborhood is doing the same thing.
Vater, es geht dir fein.